have to sort this out on my own. Without the council. And without you. Sort this out on my own. Without the council. And without you.
Seen for generations, a Dyad in the Force.
Hello, and welcome everybody to Dyad in the Force. This week, we're talking versus battle. There's been some interesting developments in the versus. I made some TikToks and they got some attention. But we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna come up with some versus matches. We're gonna take the ones that you suggest here in the chat and talk about them. I'm excited to jump into this. How you feeling? Pep?
I am feeling great. Just to get things started, the Podwans podcast trivia tournament is in full swing, and I am now participating in it. Which is different from last time where I didn't participate. And Choco is the current reigning champion.
Yeah, I'm apparently the final boss. That's what they're saying.
But you know, even though I can't announce any results at this point because they're waiting for the episodes to drop, I can say that it's the competition is tough. And Choco's gonna have to do a lot of home work to retain that title. And then they also announced, as I go to announcements, they also announced a whole bunch of new guests at Star Wars Celebration, and it just looks like we're gonna have our schedules cut out for us.
Yeah. So we got a panel being done by Brad Rao and Jen Corbett, as well as actors like Dee Bradley Baker and Michelle Ang to talk about the Bad Batch. Dee Bradley Baker is all of the clones. Michelle Ang is Omega. And yeah, they'll be talking highlights of things from season 1 and season 2.
I believe they have the armorer too.
Yeah, so it's not just the armorer. The armorer.
Gideon.
What's her face? Emily Swallow.
Yeah.
But we're also getting Katie Sackhoff, as well as Dylan, you son of.
Grief Carl himself, Carl Weather. I know him as a Apollo Creed. And to
I
some,
know him as Carl Weathers.
you know what I mean.
No. I really loved the show Arrested Development, and he's in the show and he plays himself, and it's delightful.
Yeah. It was funny before we went live here. I was in pre-production, going, all right, Dyad intro, let's go. And then the lo-fi that was playing on my computer was playing a track, and I had Palpatine. I was like, all right, Dyad intro, let's go. Do it. I was like, oh, okay. The universe in all of its glory. We also will be doing a live Q&A after the Versus talk. Just kind of hang out, regular old episode. I'm interested to know if anyone in the chat would like to be on the episode. Let me know if you guys are ready and prepared. Want to be on the episode and talk Versus with us? Let me know, and we'll see what we can do.
We would love to see that, wouldn't we?
We would love to see that. But also, I kind of feel bad for kind of doing it this way today, of all days, when Kenny's like, why do I have to work? I could totally be on this cast. Apologies, Kenny. We had you scheduled, but we ran out of time. It's a Jimmy Kimmel joke. I'm gonna leave. That joke didn't land.
Yeah, I was never a Kimmel guy.
What's up, Ace Bronx?
The Man Show when I was young.
Oh man, that's a deep cut. Who was on it with Kimmel? That guy. Almost talks like Raymond.
Kermit the Frog.
Yeah. So welcome to the Man Show. He talked like that.
Yeah. No, that's actually a pretty good impression.
I did not hit the monthly member goal. It's just kind of counting people who resub. So I would say 2 is the real number. But it's okay. Knowing that many people have resubbed is incredible, and the support is always appreciated. Love how the Dyad is matching the colors of their shirts. Listen, this isn't planned. We don't talk at all outside of this show.
That's not true, but we didn't plan it for sure.
I mean, it is like mostly true. I'm talking about like outside of Dyad, we don't talk about it much.
We don't talk about Dyad much, yeah.
It really is an improvised show at the end of the day. Like sometimes I'll have talking points well in advance, and sometimes it'll be the day of. But today, slow news cycle, all of the news revolving around Star Wars Celebration, just more guests and stuff. And the only thing we can kind of say about it is like we're excited to be there and hopefully meet everybody. But I'm definitely going to try to get Ashley Eckstein to say, my name is Ahsoka Tano, and this is the Dyad in the Force. And I'm going to use that audio in the intro instead of Palpatine, because it feels kind of weird having Palpatine there. But he's the only person that says it. But I would love Ashley Eckstein, or maybe even, if we can get like D. Bradley Baker to say something about,
Boy.
I'm Captain Rex, and this is the Dyad in the Force.
That was like that was like half Captain Rex, half John F. Kennedy.
I'm Captain Rex, and ask not what you can do. Wait, is that the same person?
Yeah.
Ask not what you can do for your country, but no. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. 2 more months and I've been a member for a year. Right on, Connor. Thank you for the support. Also, thank you to Nerdy Seb and Gilio Smith for subscribing to the channel, and also Atari. Also shout out to Saint Pat, who has been a member for 10 months. So glad to be in this community. I am so glad you can be in this community as well. So glad to have met you. You're an amazing artist and creator
And friend. We appreciate you.
Sounds like JKF. Is that just kidding, Fenity? Why don't I be in your intro? I'll just shout Geordie slang, because I feel like no one would know what show it is at that point.
Listen, Geordie slang is just a bunch of different ways of saying balls. So
I gun done tune balls.
Bollocks.
Gun dune balls. I don't know. We've turned
Wanka.
into juveniles right now. What's up, CJ? Specifically, Clone High JFK. Clone High JFK. Ask not what your Captain Rex can do for you. What am I doing? This is what happens when we're left to our own devices. Oh man. Guys, there's an open invitation for anybody who wants to be on the show to talk verses with us. If you are here, actually, let me put out a feeler in the server really quickly.
All right, good stuff. But we do have some interesting matches. But I will say there was quite a few that people were just throwing out of their butt. But yeah, while we are kind of talking, I want to talk about Babu Frick versus Meeber Gaskin, and specifically, I want them to like have their own like battle where they have prep time, like each one, like it's a robot battle show. So they each get time to like prep and stuff, because I think if it's a straight up fight, Meeber Gaskin, you know, he's a little frog boy, he's got those powerful hind legs. Babu Frick doesn't seem to move too well. I don't know if he's just old.
I don't know.
That's just how they work. But I think he'd be a whiz when it comes to droid programming.
But Gaskin's like a military guy, right? He's got combat experience.
You still gotta go through your basic training and all that stuff, you know.
But then Babu is like scrappy, right?
He just doesn't. I don't know. He doesn't seem like he moves that well. I don't know how else to say it.
Hit you up. You've got a few minutes. All right. DM me on Discord, Kenny. We'll see if we can get you on to talk about a versus. Cal, let me know if you're fixing to come on, Dyad, and talk about versus battles.
Yeah, one of the first ones that was mentioned was R2D2 versus BB-8, and I just don't think that's a fair battle.
I mean, they both have a lot of tools at their disposal.
Accoutrement, yes.
And when I think of R2 and BB-8 in combat, I always have to think of Galaxy of Heroes and their abilities. But
that's okay.
You don't really know any versus battles? No, we're just talking about who would win in a thoughtful manner versus, you know, just being like, oh, this person won versus this person, so they automatically win. We're just kind of like shooting the shit, you know, talking shop, really. Nothing too serious. But let me see if I can get
Yeah,
Darth
I'm just
Maul,
saying
yeah.
that for stability reasons, I gotta give it to R2. I feel like if R2 just drove straight at him, like BB-8 would be like me playing a Souls game where you just have to like keep mashing circle to keep rolling out of the way, because if you get hit, it's done for. I can also see R2 electrocuting the head off of the ball of his body, and I think that would end the battle really quick.
Yeah. I also
I'm going
feel
R2 for durability.
R2 for durability, BB-8 for mobility. Because R2 is kind of like... He's kind of not going anywhere fast. He can fly, but BB-8's like rolling around. And like R2 spends like 5 seconds trying to... trying to deploy his middle leg so that he can roll. It's weird.
R2 would be a boss that you could cheese pretty well. You just like stand on a little stair. BB-8 can also shoot out his little cables and swing around like Spider-Man.
Darth Man, if you're still there, hit me up on Discord and we'll see what we can get you on. I don't think I have you on here. Let me see if I can find you on the server. But Cal, if you're interested in coming on and just like talking shop with us for these versus battles, you're more than welcome to. Just let me know. We are not... This isn't anything deep. We're just kind of like... We're at least going deeper than a lot of people would go in these versus battles.
Well, real quick though, I wanted to hear your thoughts on what I said about Luke Skywalker and Ahsoka. What are your thoughts, Ben?
My thoughts is which Luke, which Ahsoka. That's always the one thing that I, default to. I need that information. Unless you're just like asking me that and you're like, that's what you get.
For me, it is kind of that's what you get. But what I was thinking, at least in my head, was like BB Y9, or it's not BB ABY9, AB9 ABY.
Mando, Ahsoka?
For both. Yeah, this would be when we saw them both in Mando.
I mean, I would have to give it to Ahsoka there. I think my feeling on that is Ahsoka 9 times out of 10. She has the classical training. She's trained by Anakin. She has war experience and been in a lot of duels. And by that time, Luke has only fought, cannon fodder, rank and file, Darth Vader twice. And that's it. I kind of feel like, not taking into account the quality of opponent that they have, Ahsoka just has more experience, more things to draw from in terms of like combat decisions, tactics. It's kind of how in that one panel from that comic, that one panel from that comic where Wonder Woman says she's quicker than Superman, or no, Batman says Wonder Woman is quicker, and I forget, is it Wonder Woman or Batman who says it? Either way, they meant like combat wise she's quicker, like makes those decisions quicker,
has more awareness,
pretty much. So I default to that. I think Ahsoka has a lot more experience, awareness, combat training, and classical training. A lot of what Luke knows is very self-taught. I call him the YouTube Jedi, and although he's powerful in the Force, that really doesn't, trump experience or combat intuition, and that's why Obi-Wan beat Anakin.
Yeah, and I also think like I mean another big reason Obi-Wan beat Anakin is he trained him and fought beside him. He knew Anakin's fighting style, what he could and couldn't do pretty intimately. And so when I posted that video and I keep having people say, well, you know, Vader beat Ahsoka and Luke beat Vader, therefore Luke wins. I have to say, you know, the thing I've been relying on is like by that logic, Rey beats Yoda because you know, Rey beat Palpatine and Yoda didn't, and this makes people mad. Now, Rey doesn't beat Yoda, at least no version of Rey we've seen. But like, if your logic doesn't hold up, like overall, then it's bad, right? There's other mitigating circumstances. Like we have to ask ourselves, is it possible that Anakin, having trained Ahsoka, has an intimate knowledge of her fighting style and that helped? Or the fact that she took off half of his mask, could she have taken off his head and chose not to, just so that she could see who was underneath? And if she had the coup de grace but chose not to take it, didn't Luke do the same thing? Like, would that be is that, do you call it a full-on loss if she chose not to kill him and then the fight continued? We also have Luke trained specifically to fight Vader versus Ahsoka, who has fought everyone, Grievous, Maul, like Mandalorians. Like, I just feel like there's a lot more to consider than just who won. We also know from the novelization that Vader didn't let Luke win. However, he wasn't fighting at full capacity.
Ooh, how did?
And then there's also.
Did you send them a link, Choco?
I did.
Okay, I was like waiting for a message. 1 second as I prepare things on my end. Continue vamping.
Yeah, there's a whole mess of additional things that I just think should be considered. It's not as clean cut as this person beat that person, therefore they're better. Is like, if you beat Michael Jordan, are you better than Jordan? What if you beat him in 2003 when he was on the Washington Wizards? Like, I don't know.
Okay, well, let's add Kenny to this conversation. Hello, Kenny.
Hello. Finally on Dyad, at least for a few minutes.
For a few minutes. So just introduce yourself to everyone in the chat and where people can find you, and then your thoughts on this conundrum that Choco is currently pondering.
What's up, everybody? My name is DarthMan86, Kenny, for those who know me best. You can primarily find me on TikTok, mostly doing Star Wars and Marvel content. That's all I've got. Recently had a lot of different death battles, at least on my end, that I was doing. I know Pep did one on mine with what was it? I think it was Revan versus
Yoda. Yeah.
I have no knowledge of Legends, so I was like, maybe.
But see, that's the thing that a lot of people suffer from when you're a fan of Revan, and typically when people are fans of Revan, all they know is that he's powerful, but there's like no context there. And this is like the problem with versus battles in general. It's like, how much do you know about them? Like when we're talking about Babu Freak versus Gascon, I'm just like, oh, one's like in the military, the other's a scrappy little tech dude. It's like, what do we consider? But yeah,
it's like a 4-star general versus like a guy in IT.
So yeah, I mean, but that's like that's the thinking that a lot of people get. That's the trappings of versus, right? When you said this is a one-sided like battle, and I'm just like, So what are your thoughts on? Go ahead.
I was going to say, like I said, with no knowledge of Legends, I had no idea how strong Yoda really was. So I was going based off just the knowledge I have of Revan. from the game KOTOR. That was it. And given in context, because in game you can use Force Lightning at will.
Yeah.
And same goes with light side power. Like, it's at will. Given in context, basically, like, if I want to, I can just summon it and be done.
True, but also Yoda could just Tuta Menace it and just fire it back at you. I don't know. It's weird, like, using gameplay mechanics as sort of like a foundation for how actual fights would be. Like, because like I quoted the game writer for KOTOR, where he was like, yeah, you guys might have min-maxed your Revan to slap Malak in like a second, but that's not how the real fight would have gone. So it's interesting to think about this stuff in terms of like, oh, what did you do in the game? Yeah, I basically slapped all of the Sith Lords in the face and defeated them. And then you're thinking, so Revan can slap people and solo them that way.
No, I knew it was a biased answer, but
yeah.
Sorry.
At the same time, and I always love to poke fun at Sawyer for this, Sawyer had a build that couldn't beat the game. That's still Revan.
That's so true.
That's still Revan.
That's so true. Yeah, Revan in one of the continuities couldn't beat, what was his name? Colonel Kurtz.
But this was Revan the diplomat. He had all of these things.
Yeah.
The high charisma one, the one that has no power to him whatsoever.
I forget what did she put all of her stats in like charisma, I think.
Yeah.
She wanted to force persuade everybody, but we were like, no, you need at least 500 HP.
That is a fun build, though. That is a fun build.
It is, but then, like, you know, when you're fighting someone whose auto attacks is literally like half of 500, and you only have 120, you're just like, maybe I should have put some points in strength, or what is it? What's
I don't know, vigor.
Strength and constitution.
Oh, constitution, right? Yeah, she had like one of her highest health team members was like 200 at best.
That's basically everybody.
I mean, you really can't. I mean, I'm surprised she got that far with that much health on her team members, but like,
it was the equipment.
Listen, I would go in there with low health, but I would use an all Jedi team and would just stack heals across everyone. So like every third move, someone was healing you, and it was just beautiful.
CJ's first build. Oh, that was Saul Kareth. Yes. CJ's first build couldn't beat Malak. Well, I would say CJ, you built him more towards the intended Drew Karpyshyn version, I guess, because Drew in an interview said that if he were to write that fight, Malak would have bested Revan multiple times before Revan could, you know, find a way to beat Malak. But yeah. So, like, really quickly, I don't know how much time you have left. Just we'll let Choco say what he wanted to say, and then your thoughts on Ahsoka versus Luke.
I was just gonna say I love the Revan book because, like, the original premise was like, Revan's like, you know what? I'm gonna go to this emperor and give him a piece of my mind. Gets brain blasted, becomes a Sith Lord, all this stuff. Years later, he's like, you know what? I'm gonna retrace my steps. I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind. And you're like, you remember how okay?
He's also known as a great tactician as well, which is odd given that thought process. But mid-fight, he's like, I definitely can absorb all of this. And then he gets fried by Vitiate. He's like, oh, this is way more than I thought it was going to be.
I immediately regret this decision. But, sorry, what were you going to...
Yeah, thoughts on Ahsoka and Luke?
Oof. That's a hard one because I want to go based off just what I know from the movies and the cartoons. So honestly, Ahsoka wins hands down just from experience.
Yeah.
Like I already did a video on this once before, and I mentioned that she actually fought in a legit war. And depends on how you look at it, Luke actually fought in a war, but in a lesser way. He wasn't as involved as Ahsoka was. Ahsoka was actually in the middle of conflicts, was actually constantly in battle. Her experience on the grounds is far exceeding.
Yeah, if you look at just the films.
Now,
If you look at just the films, it seems like all Luke is doing is showing up for the meeting and then going off and doing his own thing. he's like, yeah, this is what we're doing. I'm gonna go to Dagobah.
We don't get much context outside of that.
Yeah, I mean, we get the comics, but like, you know, at first glance, he is just going off and doing his own thing.
I also, one of the things, because in Legends, or I mean in canon too, he owns Red 5, like that is his ship. But the question is how? He showed up with Leia and was like, hey, so yeah, the Death Star is coming and I'm just gonna take out that ship. Have you ever flown one before? No, but like I had a ship back home. Like, you were a farmer though. Don't worry about it. Anyways, he takes out the ship, and then he was so good. They're like, keep it, I guess. I don't know.
No, my heart canon is, I forget his name. Was he Gold Leader at that battle of Yavin? Anyways, he's like, you sure you know what you're doing at that thing? And then Biggs is like, he's the best bush pilot in the Outer Rim. And then the guy's like, it's good to have you. That ship's yours now. Take good care of it, bush pilot.
Oh god, that's like being a crop farmer, just giving him a F-16 and be like, yes, go fight the war.
Basically being like the ghost of Kiev.
That worked in Independence Day.
Yes.
Legacy of Naboo says he took out the walkers and the Death Star. Yeah, no, like I said, that was basically me saying he showed up for the meeting, right? He showed up for that battle, right, which was maybe a dozen X-wings against the Death Star. Blew that up, and then on Hoth, he took out a walker and then left for Dagobah.
And also, I want to make this clear: we both love Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
We're just laughing because, like, there are just certain things that are just absurdities within stories that I find funny. You know what I mean? Like, Luke got lost, almost froze to death, fought a monster. Like, they bring him back, they put him in Bacta, and then the Empire shows up, and he's like, "Oh, I got this!" And then he hops in the speeder, and then crashes it, and then goes to Dagobah, and everyone's like, "Is Luke okay?"
But even before Dagobah, in the comics, like right after he loses his hand, gets it repaired, he's like, I have to go. Where? The Force is showing me things, and goes off to like different planets. I don't know how long it takes for him. He just goes everywhere, to Tempest, to Elfrona, to what's the name of the planet with Elzar?
Living mushroom planet.
He just like, yeah, I mean, all throughout the trilogy, he's just off doing things that the Force is showing him, and it is kind of equivalent to being a way seeker. But in terms of the war effort, he showed up for like key moments and was like, yeah, I gotta go. That's the funny part about it.
That's where I'm at. Like, Luke, he's a strong fighter. We've seen this in season 2 of Mandalorian. I mean, he took out those Death Troopers with no questions at all.
Yep.
Zero qualms at all. Showed absolute mastery of lightsaber combat and force ability. We've seen that on a regular basis with Ahsoka in every one of her fights.
Battlefields.
Her
of
fight
troopers.
with Grievous, her constant fights with Ventress, any war effort that she's always in, she's always engaged. We don't get that same level of continuity with Luke. So you just got to go based on what you either see or read in this case.
Yeah.
What you know of the character.
And as awesome as the scene with the troopers were, what was mostly needed was a lightsaber. You know what I mean? Like that was the most important part. And we've never seen Ahsoka do anything like the Force Crush that he did at the end of it. But seeing her jump around like on people's heads and stuff, slicing through droids, like I just can't see her having any issues against them either.
Yeah. No, I mean, in season 7, she's holding back, in a escape shuttle. Her force power is nothing to scoff at.
She deflected blaster bolts and used those bolts to cut a hole in the ceiling. Like, that's precision. That's like on the spot decision making.
She just has the training. That's all. And if you think about Luke kind of doing all of that stuff to Ahsoka, it gets a little different when you're facing another Force user. You can't Force crush a Force user who is defending, has their wall up. That's why when you see someone get hit by Force lightning and then you shoot it at Yoda, you're like, well, that's not going to work. It's going to work. It's going to work the first time because Yoda was unsuspecting of it. But when he literally stood there and took Palpatine's lightning for like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, until finally like the repulse blew them both back. But that's another Force sensitive is capable of defending against Force attacks. So 9 times out of 10,
it's like shooting with silly string.
Pretty much. So 9 times out of 10, most of the fights would come down to a lightsaber contest. And in Dooku and Yoda's case, like, it's obvious we cannot decide this contest with skills with a lightsaber, but our knowledge of the Force. And Yoda's like, bitch, I have like 700-800 years of Force knowledge. How are you going to make up for this gap? I'll threaten your Padawan.
In Dooku's defense, just got done reading Dooku Jedi Lost. He is very knowledged.
Yes.
Like, not 800 years, but he's still very knowledgeable. Like, he's not going to go down lightly.
I feel like someone could come out of the archives and read half of the books and be like, wow, that was amazing. And Yoda's like, read them, have you? Mm-hmm. He's like, I've read them like 300 times over.
No, Yoda's like, I was there.
Half of the things they read in the archive is of Yoda.
That book is 250 years old. I was 500 and I knew the author. And some of this is BS, like I was there, man. No, I haven't read the book.
He's the one who puts a footnote underneath saying narrated by Yoda.
Yeah. He's basically like, that's wrong.
Kenny, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Because a big part of these verses comes down to training. Now, when it comes to Ahsoka, I'm more leaning into experience over training. But what do you think is needed for like Jedi training? Like,
it's almost self-explanatory. It's both physical and mental. Like, for if you take all the vast variety of different Jedi that we all know and love, they all have qualities that add to them. So, for example, like Dooku is a very learned and skilled lightsaber duelist, but he's still strong with the Force, but he doesn't really go for that. Yoda is on the opposite extreme, and same can be said for Palpatine.
No, Yoda
They're
is on both
strong
extremes.
lightsaber users, but like, yeah.
Yoda is a monolith, and then it's like,
But
the best duelist in the order. I bet you don't know. Oh, he knows everything about the Force. God damn it!
But no, I don't even know who would be like a good medium, like who's both strong in the Force and able to use Force powers the way they should, and be a strong lightsaber duelist. And the only one that would come close would be maybe Obi-Wan during Clone Wars.
I agree.
Because we see a very good, healthy amount of Force using from Obi-Wan,
Yeah.
but not a lot from everybody else.
I would mostly agree with Obi-Wan. I mean, he's probably not the best duelist, but he has mastery of a form that makes him a tough cookie to fight. I would not want to fight someone who is a master of Surisu, which is why if I were to learn a form, it would be Surisu as well, because like everyone gets tired. And so you kind of like, what are you better at, like being aggressive or finding the counters? I think if Surisu had a boxing counterpart, it would be Floyd Mayweather. And if Gemso or Juyo had a boxing counterpart, that would be Manny Pacquiao. But you know what? Manny Pacquiao's been knocked out, so
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost perfect. Cal will get you in here shortly when Darth Man or Kenny has to leave.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm going to have to head out here in a second, but there is one battle that was mentioned on the TikTok before you guys jumped on that I really want to discuss real fast. Chewbacca versus Black Chrysanthemum. That's an interesting fight, and my vote is Black Chrysanthemum on one-on-one only. I don't think he could like straight up take a fight like with a multitudes. Book of Boba Fett for a good example. But
I thought you were about to say multiple Chewbaccas. I'm like, God damn, it's so unfair.
I mean, look what he did against the
Shadow Jutsu.
Look what he did against the Syndicate. I mean, he rocked them, but they were on him. They blasted him with so many bolts. He's got some durability.
He does. I think they fought once in the comics, right?
I don't see him winning against a multiple of opponents.
I think that they fought once in the comics.
But I don't believe.
Did they fight once?
I don't believe there was a clear winner though.
No.
They did fight once in the comics.
Which is interesting. I mean, they're both kind of really. The thing that I would give Chrysanthemum an edge over is combat, simply because he was a gladiator. And Chewie, he's just tough. He's a Wookiee, and he's been around the block with Han, and he's at least, and by the time of the original trilogy, about a little over 200 years old. So I don't know how old. How old is Chrysanthemum? Do you know, Choco?
No idea. I was about to ask the same question. Yeah.
What's up, Chris?
Like he's both young and old at the same time, and I can't explain it.
But yeah, before I go out, my vote's Chrysanthemum just from one-on-one experience. He is a gladiator.
Yeah.
He knows how to fight.
I would probably have to go down that route too. Now, in terms of like reliability in like a battle, I would want Chewie as like as an ally, but Chrysanthemum in a one-on-one like gladiator style fight for sure has an edge.
Yes.
Don't worry, guys. I made it. Shout out to Nedrex T in the chat. I have the comic on me. I'll find out if there was a winner. We'll see.
Ooh. But yeah, I'm gonna have to head out. So again, guys, TikTok, Darthman86, That's my handle. Star Wars and Marvel content. Always looking for new followers, the whole 9 yards. Please engage. For some weird reason, I'm like in this weird spot. I'll get some engagement, then I won't get any engagement. I don't know if I'm shadow banned. I don't know what. Like, I'm up in limbo right now.
It's weird. There's a lot of creators that I haven't seen on my feed for a long time. And once in a while, I've been doing this for quite a while now. Once in a while, you'll get a comment. It's like, "Oh man, you're finally back." It's like, "I've been here." So like, sometimes you disappear for people, and it's not your fault, and it's probably the algorithm.
It's the algorithm.
Yeah. But yeah, go check out Darthman86 on TikTok. Thank you for joining us and joining this discussion.
Right?
It was a blast, as always. But we will see you around, man.
I will talk to you guys later. Bye.
Have a good one.
All right, let us get Cal in here. Did you send him a link? Or no? I'll send him a link.
I did not send him a link.
I shall do that. Shout out to Nedrek. Shout out to Chris for stopping by. We are just, in the thick of it doing this versus mode discussion. We are now looking to get Cal Foyer in here. And I guess we'll give him this stage to talk a little bit about his vote on this matchup.
Matchup of Chewie versus Blackie.
Yeah, you won't hear me saying that, but Chewie versus Santo for sure. He does. He did say in the chat, but I would like to hear him provide his thoughts. Excuse me. There he is.
Hi, hello.
What's up? Hello.
Hey, hi, hello. There was a creator that I used to watch that did that.
That did hey, hi, hellos.
Yes. Let's get you in here really quickly. Okay, and Galzan.
I live.
What's
What's up?
All right, really quickly, Nedrix came back with the results. The fight was pretty much exactly 50-50, but Chewie was hit with a neurotoxin by 000. Chrysanthemum got knocked out from 000, so I guess 000 is the most powerful.
Right. Well, I mean, honestly, like, I'm always kind of team droid. Because you can never really beat a droid, I feel like. So it's like, oh, you beat them, but just go take, like, their brain back, and they're back again.
Did Leia defeat 3PO in Empire Strikes Back? When she just shut him off to shut him up. Can't you? Does that count as a win?
Fair. I mean, does it though? Because like he's not dead.
But does that count as a
okay.
knockout?
So
It's just have to be L3 and I'll flip your switch. Good luck finding it.
I also had to pull it up because I was curious myself as well. So yeah, Chewbacca did have the neurotoxin, and then, but he gets a shot from R2 to remove it, and then he starts whooping ass back. But I don't know if that shot was also like some type of adrenaline or I don't know. He was doping.
It's definitely some kind of stim. So yeah, Cal, expound a little bit further on like the Chewie versus. I know you said it in the chat, but
yeah. So for me, I feel like Chewie is much more like the cerebral Wookiee. Like he's the. Nope, he's still here. He just had to pick his nose. He had to pick his nose.
No, I pressed. So I have F5 to mute my mic. That's also refresh on the browser.
Oh yeah, nice.
All right, we're back, folks.
But, anyways, I feel like Chewie is as tenacious as he is and sturdy and strong, just because that's just being a Wookiee. But I feel like Santo is really like the warrior, fighter, duelist, specialist, right? So I feel like they're like peak Wookiee combatant.
Yeah,
Like that's their occupation even. Whereas like Chewie's more of like, I mean, Chewie's still a Wookiee, still not anything you ever want to tussle with, but I feel like I feel like Santo just wins because that's his job. that's by design.
yeah.
I feel like the only way Chewie would really wind up winning would be if the environment gave opportunities for him to use more of his intellect and ingenuity. But
I feel like
For some reason, I just feel like in the battle, Chewie would be more of a Jackie Chan type, where he's using this stuff around him, like he has that decision making.
for sure.
Versus, Santo being like, pound it until it stops moving.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the problems with versus battles also is that you kind of have to think about the venue and the circumstances. So if this is like a gunfight, it's a little bit 50-50, but if it's like gladiator style one-on-one, like fisticuffs, for sure Santo gets it. So we also have to kind of consider how they're fighting and where, or if they're just gonna like, they're both just wandering and then a fight ensues and it just
I always feel like you have to kind of work backwards in these scenarios. Like, what is the win condition for each competitor given like their tool set or like what they would have on hand, and then go backwards from there to see like who eventually would have that edge to get them to that win condition.
Yeah, and that's a couple. There's a couple more things that I always factor in. I have an old video I made, I want to say a year ago, that I still get comments on like weekly, and that was someone asked me to do Doctor Doom versus Darth Vader.
Oh yeah.
And Doctor Doom absolutely destroys, but one of the things I think about is how many ways does Vader have to kill Doctor Doom versus how many ways does Doctor Doom have to kill Vader. Doctor Doom has a lot of ways.
Well, and part of that too is just the power variance between universes, right? Like
it just, that one's just not a fair fight at all.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why whenever anybody tries to like compare anime together and stuff like that too, where it's like, oh, this one person from this anime solos this entire anime world. It's like, yeah, they would, because the power difference is so wildly out of whack, but it doesn't mean one's better than the other.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot of problems with versus battles. But we're trying to think of these things methodically and doing the calculus on it.
Oh, for sure.
So I also made a video replying to a Stitch of the Same Guy, where the question was between Darth Revan and Palpatine. And I'm curious your thoughts on that, because when I looked, the reason I made that video is when I looked in the chat, that one was very heavily biased towards one character.
I'll be honest. As somebody who has Revan's lightsaber on their desk, Palpatine, hands down. It's you can't throw the Sith Eternal Emperor versus just Darth Revan, who the only reason why they became Darth Revan is because they lost to the Emperor to begin with, of that era. So it's like, no, Revan loses. Like, as much as I love the character, no, Palp's got it all day. Like, easy.
Yeah, that chat was all Revan solos and stuff, and I was like, I don't know.
Oh no, no.
I don't know about that.
I mean, don't you think every one-on-one versus is a solo? Or do they mean
Right.
like easily? Are they using that word? For
No,
easily?
I don't know.
I kind of feel like
Genuine curiosity. People use the word mid, but doesn't mid mean average? Like, is it an insult? I don't know. That's weird.
I feel like it should be.
It should be just like a 60 or a 70 on Metacritic is considered bad.
Right.
You know. What up, Luke?
It's Luke.
I am
It's even worse than that.
ready.
Oh, for those of you who don't know, I mean,
Also, hi, Chris.
Element said it earlier, but he is in the middle of a trivia contest. You guys aren't doing it live, though, are you?
No, it's pre-recorded.
Okay. When can we see the last match you did? That comes up Monday, right?
Yes. But I mean, Luke is kind of giving it away, asking if I'm ready for tonight. I am ready.
It could be double LM.
See, there you go. Escape reality films. People forget Revan isn't a duelist. I'd rather see Revan versus Palpatine chess. That would be something I would actually like to see, because Revan was a military strategist. They were a general first and foremost, really.
Yeah, we were just having fun with this one.
I'll be honest, I still think Palps would win, just because dude plays 5D chess when that doesn't even exist. So,
I mean, yeah, there's a difference between military strategy versus, you know,
full
like
galactic dominance strategy.
galactic maneuvering, really. Playing everybody for a fiddle.
1000%.
I mean, you have officially inspired me to make more versus video, except none of it's going to be fighting. It's all going to be like
random things like Leia versus C-3PO. Who can make a better tapestry?
Who bakes a pie
Or just
better?
yeah, right. Just like something completely random, like BB-8 versus Yoda, who makes a better sandcastle.
I feel like Yoda takes that one. He kind of just like waves his
A little
hand.
bit of Yoda bias.
He waves
yeah.
his hand and like
And just a castle comes out of the sand.
many castles I've seen. This one will do.
Oh, now I want to see Obi-Wan versus Anakin, who bakes a better cake.
yeah. I'd like to see that as well.
I feel like Obi-Wan would win it just because he would actually pay attention and care.
I feel like Anakin
Okay,
doesn't care
Anakin's
enough
would
to know how
oddly
to bake
taste
one.
better, but it would look horrible.
All right. Here's the question. All right. This is what I want to talk about. We're gonna go with Black Chrysanthemum again versus Obi-Wan Kenobi at the Scottish Games.
I mean, Santo. I feel like he's got the.
One has the Force, the other is a Wookiee.
I feel like that's tough. I feel like Obi-Wan would win then, because there's at least the probability of Santo pulling something, like lifting a giant log and like tweaked himself slightly.
That's
and
true.
It's like Obi-Wan's just faking it while also using the Force. So I feel like
With the Force, probably, yeah.
yeah.
I just want to see both of them like on the logs in the water.
God, I feel like Obi-Wan would win that because he would just shit talk Santo the whole time and distract him.
Listen, I feel like Santo has spent more time on logs.
Where do you get that assumption, though?
It's just Wookiee business, you know?
Also fair.
Logs. Wookiee business.
What do you get in that briefcase? Logs.
No, so like talking about Revan versus Palpatine, I'm curious who you guys think has the stronger lightning, Vitiate or Sidious?
I mean, I still think Sidious. I haven't seen anything Vitiate's done with Force Lightning that's trumped stalling out an entire fleet.
Yeah.
Like, while laughing while doing it. Like,
This is
it wasn't
true.
even a struggle. It was just him being like, ha 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 ha, I win.
He's like, man, I love dubstep.
Sometimes it's just about sending a message. And I feel like Palps does that.
Yeah, so if he couldn't handle Vitiate's lightning, he certainly can't handle Palps.
Mm-hmm.
So who else we got in the matchups?
Not a matchup, but two characters I would love to kind of just see how they would interact that we never get to see, obviously for reasons, would be Thrawn and Kylo. Because like seeing Thrawn interact with Palps and Vader and how he like navigates that situation, I wonder what he would do with like Kylo's temper.
He'd walk away.
It'd just be interesting. Yeah, but like, I don't know. It's interesting.
They would be an interesting pair to see because he would be like, I can't predict anything that's gonna happen here.
Right? Because like he's just so reactive and emotional, and that's the exact opposite of Thrawn, who's very proactive and methodical. And I don't know. I was just thinking about that the other day when I was watching a matchup, or it was actually last night when Pep and I were playing duos in Apex. I was watching some like Star Wars meme music, and one of them just had Kylo Ren screaming "more," and then it had Thrawn come in with "Are you quite finished?" And I'm like, I'm really curious now how that duo would interact because they're just such polar opposites.
That'd be interesting for sure.
Let's see. Satine versus Padme at Model UN.
Padme. Honestly.
I don't know. Satine is a pacifist, but she still grew up in Mandalore.
Yeah, but like she does. Like, do we know anything that Satine's done politically that has been effective, like winning debates or anything like that? We see Padme do it all the freaking time.
She wins against Obi-Wan.
Sure, but like,
I don't see Padme winning debates.
Oh no, she won. Especially when she's, I mean, like, she just straight up goes against Palpatine and wins when she gives a speech on curtailing war efforts. And Palpatine's like, God damn it, she's good.
Yeah, but it also took her. Well, it didn't take her. She was fighting the clone thing for like a year and couldn't get it reversed. Are we really doing Model UN? I was thinking of like Satine fighting alongside Obi-Wan and like.
no, yeah, that's what he said.
No,
He said Model UN.
I just threw it out there. But yeah, okay. In combat, who do you guys have?
I would give the edge to Satine, to be honest.
She doesn't really. I don't know. I still see Padme winning it, and maybe that's just because I'm mildly biased from Galaxy of Heroes and the fact that like Padme is actually like a good fighting character in that game.
Now
And
remember
Satine's
what
not
we
even
said
in
about
it.
using games.
I know, but like,
I also give it to Padme, but I mean, we can't discount the warrior culture that Satine grew up in, but
for sure.
we do happen to know for a certainty that Captain Quarsh Panaka trained Padme and all of the handmaidens in hand-to-hand combat and blaster usage and a bunch of stuff.
Like,
Espionage.
part of the reason why I feel like Padme would get the edge personally is because she's actively using those skill sets. We see her go out to Batu to try and find her handmaiden. and stuff like that. She's actively going out, putting herself in danger, a lot of times by herself, and still coming through it. Whereas Satine, we don't really like. She can hold her own, but I just don't think she's as practiced enough to be able to pull out that skill set proficiently all of the time.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to disagree with both of you. Given the fact that she is from Mandalore and she has dealt with the old Mandalorians and Death Watch her entire life. It's difficult to say she isn't as practiced. It's just different arenas.
Yeah. So
and-
one of the other ones that was... Oh, go ahead.
But I'm wondering if Quarsh Panaka's training upends the Mandalorian training.
I don't know that it upends it, but we know that she's not just like self-taught out here. It's Naboo Royal Security, and a lot of the stuff they did was effective.
Well, and she's spent a lot of her time around both Anakin and Obi-Wan as well, holding
She
her own
wasn't
in
training
fights
with
and
them.
stuff like that. Not training, no, but I'm saying like for the same reason why you're saying like Satine kind of holds her own with Obi-Wan when they're getting into stuff as well. I feel like it kind of goes for both of them.
Now,
So in Queen's Hope, she solos a destroyer droid. So it's crazy.
I mean, you can roll a grenade slowly and solo a destroyer.
She does make it through the shield, but she doesn't physically. Yeah.
But okay, so for the purposes of this versus, however, are we assuming that they are just fighting as they are or prepared for battle?
I mean, I still think either or.
Because Bo-Katan says that, you know, the armor has been passed down in our family, which means that Satine has Mandalorian armor and would have Mandalorian tech. Are we going with like Satine in her dress robes versus Padme in her dress robes, or are we affording them the combat tools available to them?
Hey, we can't take positions we don't have.
That's also true. We've never seen her actually wear it. Just because it's passed down in the family doesn't mean it hits every sibling.
But at the same time, we can surmise that if she was raised, if they're sisters that were raised together, then they would have both been raised the same way. So I do follow that logic.
Well, I mean, it's just part of the Mandalorian culture, right? All of the houses have, particularly the main houses, all have pure Beskar armor.
Speaking of Mandalorians, Sabine versus Phasma.
I mean, I'd have to give that to Sabine too.
Same.
Phasma is one of those like, man, I don't know.
I haven't read the book, so I'm a little biased, or like unbiased on Phasma, I guess. Like, I just, from what I've seen with her in the movies, she's
So Phasma's culture is actually not dissimilar to Mandalorian, just far less sophisticated. I mean, she comes from a Mad Max world and you have to be willing to do anything to survive, to take down anyone, not hesitate. Super practice with a spear. Like I guess given their entire kit, I would go Sabine, but like if it gets anywhere near hand-to-hand range, absolutely going to Phasma. That's not a question. And mid-range, I would actually say it's about fair. I don't know.
I'd have to disagree with you on the close range, because Sabine has training from Kanan and Ezra, and she fought.
And one could argue
Gar Saxon close range.
One would argue too that like if we're talking about them with their full kit, we could technically give her the Darksaber.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what I'm citing is her fight with Gar Saxon against the Darksaber using just a lightsaber. So she was able to hold her own with a more seasoned Mandalorian in close quarters. There's just not a lot of Phasma that, at least in fights.
Phasma is big, strong, fast. That Quicksilver spear can do damage. She's well armored. And has no honor. There's no rules. There's no nothing to stop her. So
Can Quicksilver
take that as
pierce?
you will.
Can Quicksilver pierce Beskar?
Can it get around the Beskar?
I mean, that's
another
really the
question.
concept of spears, is to hit the gaps in armors. Or not the concept, but one of the bigger uses.
One of the ways, yeah, you can get around it. But the obstacle's still there, you know.
I mean, Sabine
heavily
also just has a
armored.
jetpack.
High ground.
Yeah, she has the high ground. She has the I feel like Sabine wins. I can definitely see with the
Definitely has
case
a
you've
better
made for
kit.
Phasma that she has the almost like the Nihil energy of just I'll bite your throat out if I have to kind of energy.
Literally did arena combat.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not to take this back, but CJ did say, we also know that Sabine or Satine fought in the Mandalorian Civil War, which would mean she wore her armor more than likely. But we're not going to revive that matchup. What's the next matchup moving forward?
Let's.
Do you have a list?
The next
We
one.
took some suggestions,
People were just throwing these at us. The next one was Padme versus Jin, which I believe Jin handedly. I mean, she does combat with her truncheons, but if we were to tweak that and instead of Padme, put up Kira versus Jin.
That's a tough one. I feel like Kira would win.
Yeah.
I think it would be
against Vader,
a nasty fight, but I think Kira would win. Just don't tell Stardust M that I said that, because I feel like I'll get death threats.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Boba versus Jango.
If Boba's jetpack is functional, Boba.
I think especially if we're talking them at their pinnacles, or with their full kit, so to speak, I feel like Boba would win, especially Book of Boba Fett style at the end with Tusken
where
training
he's
and stuff like that.
I don't need.
I have family.
Need Mandos. I got family. Yeah.
Harith Productions super chatted a $2 ramen drop. Super chat for the win. LFG match of the century.
Hey, what's going on, Harith? Thank you for the $2. You're just paying me to beat you. Thank you for the ramen drop. Your support is highly appreciated. LFG match of the century. What is this for? What are you looking for group for? It's just me and you. It's just me and you, man.
Or is he looking for a group to find the ultimate duel of characters in Star Wars? No.
Maybe. Oh, well, I mean, match of the century. Rematch of the century? Is that what you meant, Harith?
Pre Vizsla versus Din Djarin.
I think Pre Vizsla would win.
Does Din Djarin have the Darksaber? Do they both have the Darksaber?
I was going to say, does Pre Vizsla have the Darksaber? I'll say this: give it to both of them. Pre Vizsla wins. He knows how to wield it better.
This is true.
Okay, give it to neither of them.
Okay, it's still Pre Vizsla.
Pre Vizsla for sure.
Unfortunately, as much as I love Mando, I think Mando's the better character for sure. But I feel like Pre Vizsla just has more of the training. Mando's kind of a bit of a.
He's a
I
wild
don't want
card.
to say. Yeah, he's scrappy and clever, but at the same time prone to more accidents and mistakes.
I would need to know more about Gideon's upbringing and training, because Din kind of struggled a little bit with Gideon.
Jawa versus Ewok.
For sure. Ewok. Oh.
All right.
CJ
I
says
feel
that
Jawa.
Herrick meant it was let's effing go.
Oh, what?
I guess so.
I've never. It's the MMO head in me that's like looking for group.
Yep.
No, it's because we're old. We're all old.
Yeah, that's it.
I have a matchup from Bruce Greatstorm. Beginning, it says Rey Skywalker post Rise of Skywalker versus Obi-Wan Clone Wars. I don't know.
I feel Obi-Wan would win that, and it would only be purely due to his ability to outlast her in saber combat.
Yeah, that's tough to... Well, I say I don't know because we don't know how post we're talking about, because if it's post Tross immediately, she still doesn't have enough training.
She was whooping ass against the guards, but that was like blaster related things and
Yeah.
force related things. She loses the fight to Kylo Ren. Well, she loses like all of the fights to him and Tross. But she was also exhausted after like giving life force to the snake, and like all of it happens like within a day. So
I feel like just with Obi-Wan's mastery of Suresu, right? He has the ability to outlast her in saber combat, and I feel like he would be close enough. I don't know. It could be interesting. I think Rey kind of ekes him out in force capability, but
Raw power, yeah. But this is kind of akin to like the Ahsoka versus Luke, because Obi-Wan's got classical training, experience.
yeah, years of it. I mean, like he's actively living in a war, essentially.
Yeah,
and I agree. I agree with Obi-Wan. For a lot of these, a lot of like my thoughts kind of go down to cars, because I used to be like pretty big into cars. And one thing you'll know is the car with the most horsepower doesn't win the race. Oftentimes, the car that's best at braking wins the races. Like that's if you can brake, if your braking technique is on point, you win the race for sure. And things like that are fascinating. We used to go out autocrossing all the time, and my buddy in a stock 2012 Jetta beat a Corvette around the course, but the Corvette driver didn't know what he was doing.
yeah. I once saw a Charger with like 1,000 horsepower go up against a BMW. The Charger spent 3 seconds at the start in a freaking wheelie and lost.
Good soldier, Rex.
So it's just like, yeah, it's like, where are you putting that power? Do you have grip? Do you know how to come off the line smoothly?
I really enjoy that too. I feel like, I think that Rey would get frustrated with Obi-Wan's quips. She's not quite the talkative fighter. I think that's so true.
She would just scream at him a bunch. It's like
Exactly that.
Stop it!
No. The one I'm pointing to. No. Sorry.
Yep. Ugh. I think it would be a fun matchup to see, personally. I don't think it would be one that either would take terribly seriously. So that's the other tough thing, too, that I have with a lot of it is...
Yeah, they would just have
like motivation to fight the other person. Like that's a tough thing in versus as well, because I feel like there's some characters that just wouldn't be motivated to fight certain characters and stuff like that. So it's like, would they be prone to pulling their punches? Or are we going that in depth to like their psyche of it, or is it just straight up just toolkit versus toolkit? Because then it's like at that point the character doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
What's interesting is
that's
when
a
I
great
think
point
about.
too, because okay.
I was just thinking about Rey's toolkit in Battlefront. And I think it's mind trick. It's interesting to think about the two mind trick people facing each other. It's like, you don't want to fight me. It's like, I want to fight you.
I just mind tricked myself. You're like, oh shoot!
You can do that?
My mind trick on myself was I can't be mind tricked. Like, I don't even know how to deal with that, man.
I have a strong mind. I wonder if you can combat the mind trick by doing that. Convincing yourself you have a strong mind. What were you going to say, Choco?
Oh, just what you said as well about, whether they have the motivation to fight, or because I know people are like, oh, they're bloodlusted and they just speed blitz, and you're like, but that may not be how they fight. You know what I mean? Like, I know this is Marvel, but if you were to throw Spider-Man into the mix and say, oh, he's bloodlusted, well then like all of your information goes out the window, because if he was bloodlusted, his punches would penetrate.
Yeah, they'll go in. They go in.
We'll go through.
Yep.
Yeah. We can't really change parameters outside of like venue and like what they're fighting with. If we put Obi-Wan against Rey, no lightsabers, I think Rey could overwhelm him.
No,
I don't know. Wait, no lightsabers or just lightsabers?
When he.
What did you say, Pep? Did you say no lightsabers or just lightsabers?
No lightsabers.
Oh, then yeah, I think Rey wins. Because every time you see the Force, but you see like in every fight, especially in the movies, where the Force is brought in, Obi-Wan just gets thrown to the side. It's just what happens.
He did stalemate Anakin, but at the same time, he's not known for really like raw power.
All right. Anakin versus Obi-Wan, one-on-one basketball.
Padme.
I think Anakin wins, personally.
I don't know, man. Now you have me thinking about
I think Anakin would try harder.
You have me thinking about like Kerr versus Stockton or something. Or
I'm just saying. I feel like Anakin would always like try to go in for a dunk. He wouldn't be a perimeter player. I feel like Obi-Wan would have good fundamentals and he'd shoot from the outside, and his defense would be bomb.
Yeah,
I feel like Anakin would still find a way to block the shots, though.
No Force, just basketball?
No Force, just basketball.
Well,
let's say no Force on the basketball. Like no.
Oh God! If it's no Force, if there's still Force allowed, Anakin's gonna take all of the cheap shots on Obi-Wan that he can. Untie his J's, make him trip. Let's go.
I'm trying to liken Sarisu to like defense.
I don't know. I would just love to.
I would love to see it. And that's one thing that I wish Star Wars had more of, that like anime has, are just like the one-off filler slice of life episodes where it is just a cook-off between Obi-Wan and Anakin. Does it add anything to Star Wars? No. But God, would it not be delightful to see?
Yeah. I'd like to see it. It could go either way. We could make
like
arguments for both.
Man, this also makes me want to do another thing. Like, it makes me want to like call out Mesa Windu and like make us each pick a 5-on-5 roster
For basketball?
I need to see that video now.
Yoda's on one team for sure. Just for his physical enhancements.
I got Pong Krell.
4 hands. 4 hands and brutality.
That guy can dribble. Plays like Deladova.
Yoda, Quinlan Voss, Mace Windu,
Mace Windu just being a solid power forward. I could see it.
Yariel Poof as the center. He just goes like this the entire time. Boom, boom.
Okay, well, I got Oppo Rancesis.
Right, I was gonna say, just trip people. Just block all of the shots center.
Listen, this is either all traveling or none of it's traveling. I'm not sure. Like,
It's true.
Who would be the ref? Oh God.
All right, what's the next matchup?
Baze Malbus versus Paz Vizsla. We kind of talked about it a little bit on the stream.
Interesting.
Both of them kind of tanky people.
Paz, I
Making
do
their way
believe,
downtown.
has the edge on overall combat.
Baze, his gun is nasty though.
Can it pierce
'Cause it's-
Beskar?
I feel like with the fire rate, it could almost be unrelenting enough to like make them lose their footing and just blast them until it's hitting enough of the in-between parts that it's actually going to do damage. I don't know. That's a tough one. Part of it is also mildly biased because I do like Baze.
I put the long range gunfight at 50-50, and I put close range to Paz.
Yeah, I would actually agree with that.
You still thinking, John?
I would say the long range would probably be 60-40 Baze, but still very, very close.
What does Paz
All right.
use? Just a regular old.
No, he dropped in with a heavy
Gatling laser.
You know,
All right, so Jesus.
That's tough.
I think that's more 60-40 at a long range than to Paz then.
but there's no is there really aiming with that thing? I don't know.
They're both kind of spraying and praying on that one.
No, because Baze has the like stupid targeting with
Baze
it.
was precision personified.
Yeah,
Baze
dude.
shot with the speed of a Gatling gun, but all of them were headshots, and you're like, this
Well,
is
on the
impossible.
battle-
Almost shot me.
On the Battle of Scarif, he was doing it more like a heavy though. When he's shooting it on Edu, he's in a position to take those calculated shots.
But he can, though, is the thing. I don't think you can really do that with a Gatling laser. That's just all go.
I
or
don't
no
think
go.
you're taking a position to do a sniper with a Gatling laser shooting at you. I mean, I'm thinking about Apex right now. Like, when a Rampage
I
is
don't
shooting
know.
at you, you're not out there trying to, train your sights on someone.
Hey, I've 1v1 somebody with a 30-30 versus a Spitfire.
Listen,
It's not
you
easy.
carry us in Apex. I get it. I'll get good someday. Leave me alone. Rail Avaros versus Elzar Man.
Elzar.
Elzar, yeah.
Might just be biased, but
No, well,
I don't see Rail being quite a threat.
Rail's he's crusty, man. He's
He's crusty.
he has seen better days. I think morally Rail would win, but it doesn't really mean much in a versus.
Lorna D versus R.S. Singh.
Lorna.
Lorna
D.
D. Easy.
Lorna, I mean, Orison got pushed off a building and died.
Lorna D would like.
She
Oh,
would
I don't even
bite
want to know
Aura's
how.
neck.
She would bite the antenna out of her fucking head. Like, it'd be nasty.
Legacy of Naboo has Anakin versus Obi-Wan in is Westbrook versus Chris Paul.
Yeah, I can see that. Which I would love to see. Kit Fisto versus Darth Maul.
There's a lot about Kit Fisto's skills that are not on display in the movies that are there.
I would honestly say Kit Fisto. Personally.
Kit Fisto... How did Kit Fisto deal with Grievous again?
He used stealth and dual lightsabers. You know, he went Jarkai and
Through the smoke.
yeah. And he handled his business, and hell is like the confidence and authority with which he fought Grievous led me to believe like he probably could have defeated Grievous, but he's like, I got places to be.
I got my Padawan to think about.
It's kind of dry out here. I need to get in the tub or something.
Yeah, I think Kit Fisto just has the actual prowess to deal with all of the rage and wrath that Maul would be throwing out.
So we would have to qualify this. Is
there water nearby?
Is this Senate Chambers Revenge of the Sith Kit Fisto, or is this Clone Wars Kit Fisto?
It's the same person.
That's not at all.
I mean, sure, it's like swept under the rug with people being like, "Oh, it's the Force scream from Palpatine," and he just wasn't expecting.
Okay, but here's the thing: is that initial flurry was so like fast and precise, and Kit Fisto survived it. You know, the other two didn't, but Kit Fisto momentarily survived.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think they did him super dirty by making him one of the people that came there and just got handled.
The Matthew Stover novelization is worse. Anakin is running in to like meet up, and as he's coming in the door, he sees Kit Fisto's head on the table, and it's still smiling. And you're like,
God!
Oh, what the hell? That's just morbid.
Yeah.
Elzar. So Knights of the Force in the chat asks Elzar and Stellan versus Anakin. We really got to do this 2-on-1 thing, man.
Wait, what was that?
Elzar and Stellan versus. I feel like Elzar, Mustafar, Anakin. I feel like Elzar would win.
Oh wait, so we're pairing 2 versus 1, or just each one versus Anakin separately?
I don't know.
He said and.
That makes it. If it's together, you lose, Anakin. I'm sorry. Like,
Elzar, if he feels pushed, will throw an island into the ocean.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I'm like, if
he's a stranger to the dark side, that man will ride a dragon.
You don't know the power of the
the dragon.
I do, actually.
I can go into heavy detail.
I'll be honest, like, I understand the Anakin hype, but I'm definitely never Team Anakin, really.
It's because of the most powerful Jedi label, which doesn't automatically mean wins everything.
No, he lost versus Obi-Wan at like the height of his power. Got fucking turned into Jedi Tartar on a frickin' beach of lava.
It all comes down to like the definition of power, right? Like power with influence.
He changed his name to Bob.
Power of numbers. Yes, he has the most midichlorians, but he couldn't match up to Sidious.
He's just unrefined.
Yeah, he's like I said, a big old American muscle car.
He likes putting Anakin in fights he can't win.
But
which is the majority of them, sadly.
Another thing to consider is that when Order 66 popped off, Anakin didn't have to fight most of the most powerful Jedi.
Not only that, he also
Not the children.
Yeah.
and the librarians and stuff like that. Palpatine took out the heavy hitters, and the clones took out anyone who was
Wasn't
high enough
there.
ranking to lead their own battalion.
Pretty much all of the council was off-world.
That's why, like, bring it back to video games. I know, I'm sorry. But with Galaxy of Heroes, everybody was like crying to have like Lord Vader, Anakin at his prime, brought in as a galactic legend. I'm like, why? He lost every fight. The only thing he accomplished was he killed his wife and killed kids. Like, dude sucks, man. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you.
I mean, and if Obi-Wan is
Because
any...
When you put it that way, he's like Sasuke.
Exactly. I hate Sasuke. Like, I need to make a TikTok that is literally like, if you like these characters from these medias, I'm like sus of you as a person. Sasuke's on that list. Anakin's on that list. I'll have to think of more, but like those are the two characters. Like, if they're your favorite character, I'm worried.
If Obi-Wan is any measure of quality for the Masters, he wouldn't get close to beating Yoda. Wouldn't get close to beating Plo Koon. He'd probably get close to beating maybe Coleman Trapper.
Maybe.
He even lost to what's his name, the Battle Master. He had to take a whole city hostage to give him a chance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he also got scarred by Asajj Ventress.
He also had to get pushed to the point of like dark side rage against Barriss.
Yeah.
So like,
Barriss got hands, man.
yeah. And so I'm like, dude, Anakin really isn't that good.
The only time Anakin really showcases being the most powerful is in the Mortis arc, and it's just raw power. There's like, there's no indication of his larger skills in combat other than, you know, holo recordings of him reinventing Form 4 from Rebels.
Well, I guess this kind of probably ruins this next matchup then. Woo! That was a cup. Darth Vader versus Darth Malgus.
I'd have to give it to Malgus there.
Say it again. Malgus versus who?
Vader.
I mean, we're going off of visual media. The fights that Malgus fights
are on a different scale.
Yes. Just going off of Malgus versus Satele on Alderaan.
Dude,
and then
just
measuring
like
the mobility of Vader. Like, Vader's powerful, but Malgus wasn't a machine.
he like, and I think that's it. Is like, I feel like Malgus is what Vader could have been if Vader wasn't like 90% machine.
Well, in the Sith book, there's a note from Palpatine there's a note from that Vader took that was he was taking a lot of cues from Malgus.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I don't see
Malgus
Vader.
is like the epitome of Sith warrior.
Yeah.
He like that's that like. I feel like the writers, when making that character, were like, okay, let's take Sith warrior as a concept and epitomize it in a character. That's Darth Malgus. Who I also have right there, above Vader. So we already know.
So Malgus had a mountain. Malgus was buried in a mountain. Came out, only required a rebreather. Anakin lost his body.
He got cut.
He got cut. It's really difficult putting up Old Republic and Ancient Sith Lords against Darth Vader. Like, he has a lot of raw power. We see it with the Sumo Verminoth, but it's not. They're not displays of outstanding combat. Yeah.
like, don't get me wrong. I think it wouldn't be like a landslide 10-second fight.
No,
But
no,
I
for
feel
sure.
like Malgus just is like raw dark side, just rage and unkillability juggernaut energy.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of Sith. There was a lot of rank and file Sith. He could probably beat 95% of the Sith in the Old Republic, like Darth Barris, Angral, and Edris. But you're talking about Malgus, you're talking about like Revan, Darth Revan, you're talking about the most monolithic Sith. He could probably beat Nihilus.
Oh yeah, that's not a debate. Nihilus is the slow Sith. He just sits there and just slowly feeds. he's like the snail on the inside of a tank, of a fish tank.
Joke's on you, I'm
He's
mostly
just there.
machine.
Yeah, and then he's like, I don't like electricity. No, thank you. It's bad flavor.
Okay. So,
Oh, you just like brought out something else. Like Vader is. Vader is
Why do I have
literally
so many
weak.
statues?
Vader is literally weak to every Sith because of his body.
Force lightning. Yeah.
yeah.
I just realized I have Nihilus right there as well. And I'm just like, why do I have so many Sith figures and statues and like no Jedi?
I don't
'Cause
know.
you're-
Even though when I'm not though, I actually don't like the Sith. It was just collector's edition of the Old Republic. That was a cool Vader statue that was on sale. Peach looks like she's sniffing it. And then one of my friends actually sent me the Black Series Nihilus because they were just at Target and found it. And like, ooh, kind of like Star Wars. Here we go. I'm like, oh, thank you.
Plo versus Skier. I would probably give that to Plo Koon.
I would give it to Plo as well, just due to him being a lot more polished.
Plo really is a gentleman, you know?
Yeah.
Also, Skier's disease and Plantarm.
I don't know, Plantarm's pretty sick.
Plantarm is cool as balls.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, Skier's one of my favorite High Republic characters. I love the concept of Trandoshan Jedi. I was really bummed that in the Old Republic you couldn't make Kaizen Fess a Jedi. He just had to be cranky Trandoshan with Q-tip baton that smacked people.
Yeah. Plo Koon
Okay.
would defeat him politely.
So Thrawn and the Eye of the Storm.
Markion Ro?
Mark Henry.
Yeah, Thrawn and Markion Ro, first hand-to-hand combat, second in Street Fighter. Who do they main and who wins?
I think Thrawn takes the hand-to-hand combat.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like Thrawn.
That's surprising.
I just don't think Thrawn would be able to read him. I think.
No, I don't. I think that's
Thrawn would be
that's
very
part of it, but I think Markion just has the beef.
But he doesn't but he doesn't have any, outstanding combat prowess.
It's true.
He's the weakest amongst all of the Tempests, and he has to outsmart them all the time. Like,
But
I
even
think,
then, he has the physicality to crush stuff, and he's sure he's not refined, but like he's equally as cerebral with it, but also has the physicality to back it up.
He defers a lot when it comes to a fight. Panada just picked him up and ragdolled him before he was poisoned.
Panada's
Panada's also
the whole
has
army.
the beef.
That's true, but
He's
Thrawn
got even
has,
more beef.
Thrawn has very calculated hand-to-hand combat training.
Yeah, but
He
I feel like
trains against droids.
Pan Ada is the guy in the Italian Job, where the big Polynesian guy who's like playing golf, who is only holding it with one hand and just like smacking the ball every time, and he's like, "Baby, go relax." Like that's who he is.
I don't know.
I'll just send you a clip because it is Pan Ada and it's the best.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it would be a tough fight, but I think hand to hand, Markion would just win just due to having the physical edge. I don't know.
All right, now let's take that and apply it to. I said Street Fighter, but it could be any fighting game.
I don't know fighting games. I'm.
You know Smash Brothers.
Markion plays Dictator, and Thrawn plays Dalzim.
Really? Dalzim? Why?
Very calculated and measured approach.
Okay.
I feel like Markion would be Ganondorf, and Thrawn would probably be like a Fox or Falco. I feel like
oh, yes, this has optimal coverage, and
range has the ability to reflect. It's also
not
super
being the
quick
most
up close.
powerful at anything. I see him playing Mario. That's who I see.
I would see him playing Luigi over Mario. I don't think Mario is as well rounded as people think, at least in the Smash Bros. Space.
Also, just kind of random. I see Markion Rowe playing Voldo.
Oh god.
I just see it.
Thrawn
Gotta
plays
have
just like
the
this
awkward
looks cool.
strut.
Thrawn plays
Killer. No.
Sophitia.
Yeah, I can see that.
We got something in the chat. Maul or Savage versus Skier. I mean, Skier is hamstrung entirely right now. Before the disease, maybe it's a tough fight, but maybe he takes it over Savage. But I would give this one to Maul, because they're both kind of ferocious and aggressive fighters, but Maul...
I think Maul would beat Skier. I think Skier would beat Savage.
Yeah. You just agree silently, Choco?
I'm
Hank is still thinking about fighting games.
Little bit. No. I was also trying to make sure I had other verses, but we are getting kind of late into the stream, anyways. Just making sure I had more to continue going if need be. So I apologize for being checked out of that one, but I do agree with Cal. I think that Savage is just the bulk. You know, he was getting a lot better under the tutelage of Maul, but it's not enough. Too little, too late.
It really is kind of like when you think about Maul and Savage getting pretty worked by Obi-Wan alone. It's like,
I felt like
is
Savage
this a
was just more
2-on-1
away.
or is this like a 1.5-on-1?
Well, almost felt like a 9 or a 0.95, because I felt like Savage a lot of times was more in the way and overcomplicating the unfortunately.
Asajj Ventress versus Maul. Just straight up, no distractions. She gets both of her lightsabers. Because when they were fighting, when she was fighting with Obi-Wan, she had to give one up. I think this is a close one.
Me too, actually. This is one I don't have an immediate gut feeling one way or the other. Part of me is leaning more Asajj.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 60-40 in favor of Visage on this one.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm feeling. I was a little closer, but I feel like Asajj just ekes it out a little bit more in the versatility category, with being able to have the lightsabers together or apart, having a bit more refined training with Dooku.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I think that's a funny one because of like the comparative nature of trying to make these fights. So you would instantly like, okay, well let's think about how he fights against Ahsoka, and you're like, well, Ahsoka could also beat Ventress, and she beat Maul, but Maul is technically more powerful. I think Ventress also might be, but yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot to consider, but I think in the end, given both of their styles, Asajj has just slightly more discipline than Maul. So, like, yeah, more like maybe 6 times out of 10, she takes it.
Yeah. Because I think really the only upper hand in that matchup that Maul has is just the blind fury rage. But again, it's also blind.
And he also gets cocky.
Yeah. Whereas I feel like Asajj is, especially going up against Anakin so much, is very good at recognizing those moments of cockiness and exploiting them.
Yeah. And when she got her sabers
Asajj
taken...
also...
When she got her sabers taken, she didn't, like, foolishly attack Yoda after he gave them back. She kind of knew, you know?
Maul instantly would have been like, no!
You shouldn't have given them back. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a really good matchup, though. I think that's probably my favorite one so far, oddly enough.
Yeah.
And a good one to end on as far as the matchups.
That's for sure. A lot of these matchups were either like here or there. This one was just kind of, it depends, but more likely Ventress. But this was a fun little episode to do, hanging out with the chat, discussing the questions that are on a lot of people's minds, answering them with calculus versus addition. Sometimes people aren't even operating on
Math.
They're just like, I feel that this should be the case.
This one
That's
is
also
obviously
valid,
the
but...
answer. Why is that obviously the answer? I don't know.
Because it is to me.
Because they have rules, and there are no rules in combat. You know, they're rules of this person beat this person, therefore.
Because this scenario that I have in my head fits perfectly to why this person would win.
Yeah, there's just no rules. You can't operate on rules. You can operate on logic, but...
And that's why I always think verses are always kind of hard, especially when people start to pit like a Jedi versus a Jedi, because it's like, we know how they would fight against an enemy, but like, this is an ally, so we don't know how this person would necessarily fight against somebody that they wouldn't perceive as a threat and stuff like that. Because there's so much that like really dictates how somebody wields weapons and how they fight in combat, how they temper their emotions and stuff like that, right? So it's a lot of that can come into play, and it's hard to do in a versus space when they would have no reason to go all in.
I actually have a bonus one to end on. You guys can give the shortest answer possible, and then we'll wrap things up. Unless you have an additional one too, Choco. There's the diplomatic. Zine versus Finn. Is that look because... oh, wait. Cal, are you familiar with Zine?
From High Republic Adventures?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's a tough one because I feel like they
Both
have two
relatively
different. Yeah, they're both relatively new. They both have very different training and skill sets.
Yeah, I'm going with Finn.
Honestly, same.
Although I do think it's adorable to picture Zine, because I picture her like spinning around and then like double firing at people while laughing. I don't know why. Just like
Yeah.
It's all like again, it comes down to like raw power versus, because you know her first feat was stopping a ship from crashing, or was that a meteor or debris?
meteor. Yeah, it was
It
debris.
was debris.
And Finn, we haven't really
Hey,
seen him.
my wife is debris. Sorry, her name is Bree.
Ah,
The word debris doesn't come up in my vocabulary very often.
Debris.
yeah, I was about to say that. But we haven't seen Finn use the Force, so we've seen him use the lightsaber, so it would be difficult because he has training and he has
Because
used
he
the
also has
lightsaber.
like, the military training as well from the First Order. So it's like, and I feel like
Not only that,
again,
but he exceeded in that
Yeah.
training. He was the top of his squad.
and I feel like that is what it always will wind up boiling down to me in a lot of ways is the polished refinement, the muscle memory of fighting.
Mhm.
I think he just
I will-
has it.
I will say Force users are just kind of broken in general, because a lot of people are like, I've been training for years with the mastery of this weapon, and then the Force user's like, I just turn off my brain and shoot, and I'm like, let Jesus take
Yeah.
the wheel.
Or they just force pull that masterfully trained weapon out of your hand and you don't have it.
That's
it's
true.
it's a lot like anime, like shonen anime, where you're like, my family is from a village of assassins, and we are the top assassins, and I have the most powerful technique. And then like a little 14-year-old kid who weighs nothing is like, I have the power of friendship, and I've never tried this move before, but I think it might work. And they always
Oh, also, my parents are dead, so I have
Yeah.
that in my backstory.
Are your parents alive? No, they're dead. Oh crap.
Do you know anything about Hunter x Hunter?
I know a little. It's
I
on
do.
my list of watch.
I synced it.
Oh, you've seen it, yeah. It's basically a Killua, you know. He's from a family, but he's also really, really young. It's kind of like, well, how much can you learn? Like, it's like Anakin saying, "I'm my whole life." You know, it's just like
You're 9. Cool.
you've only understood words for like 6.
I always hate when people use that as like a defense on why he's able to like pilot things. I'm like, he's 9. At most, he's remembered 3 of those years of actually doing it, and then a couple years of him fucking hitting stuff with a stick. I don't know. Like,
All right. Well, bonus on that subject matter. There's a comment on one of my videos that I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna read it word for word as soon as it comes up.
Well, real quick, I'm in the same boat. The thing that kills me the most is he's the actual chosen one. You're like, what does that mean?
yeah,
Do you
chosen to
think that
do what?
means- A
Lose.
chosen one means it doesn't mean you're powerful. Like, it doesn't mean that at all. It means you are the person to do this job.
This task. Yeah,
You know, it's like,
And he
it's like
does.
Frodo.
poorly, but
To quote Ron Weasley, "You might be the chosen one, mate, but this whole thing's bigger than just you."
Hey.
A comment says, Anakin built his pod racer and got the skill as he was a slave building and fixing other flight and spacecrafts. In the first movie, his friend literally says, "I hope you finish the race this time," stating he has been in them more than once, but never even finishing them. Now I have to imagine, not finishing a race counts more against than for.
You know, fight as much as you want against an Elden Ring boss. It only matters once you beat it.
This is true.
In Elden Ring. Yes, that's very true.
But if you like that comment, he got his skills building and fixing the crafts.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that's more of a plus towards his building skills, because he just wrecks it and rebuilds it over and over again like it's Legos. And, you know, so that's cool. But yeah, if you are in any other like competitive racing sport and you've never been able to finish, that's probably a boon against. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. In any case, that comment was just, you know, from a video that I was like saying, oh, Anakin just said he was a pilot and y'all believed him, and then the comment is going into speculative territory, whereas Rey says she's a pilot, you don't believe her, and when we do go into speculative territory, you're like, we don't need extra material to understand the movies. And I'm just like, you see what you're doing here, you know?
Well, not to mention,
leeway.
There is a difference in, and this is a whole other tangent, so I'm sorry as we're wrapping up here, but Anakin says he's, you know, been a pilot and mechanic his whole life. He's 9. Never finished a race. But then when we see him actually drive the pod racer, it's relatively flawless. The only issues he really runs into are because of sabotage.
Yeah.
Rey says she's a pilot. What was that?
What do the Beastie Boys have to do with this? I'm sorry, continue.
Sabotage?
But with Rey, she says she's a pilot. She's significantly older. We see her fly the Falcon poorly. And people are like, she's a god. She can do whatever she wants just because she says so. It's like, when she flies it, she's hitting everything. The first takeoff is digging half the freaking Falcon into sand and then taking off.
The key word there is when she flies it, because she only flies it twice.
Let's just call it what it is. This is maidenless behavior.
And with that, we are going to start to wrap up this episode of Dyad in the Forest. Thank you so much, Cal, for coming on and basically just dropping everything, taking a quick one, and then just coming back and just, hey, I'm on. I didn't really have any plans for guests. I was just going to leave it up to the chat to see if people wanted to come on, and you were there. So, like always, you're there. So thank you. If you want to shout out anything, plug anything, I'm pretty sure you're going to stream after this. So
yeah, immediately after this, I'm going to be going live on twitch.tv/Cal4. I'm going to be starting playing Minecraft just because we got a sub-only server going right next to me. And I'm going to build a house because everybody keeps pushing me to like finally start actually building a house. So I'm going to do that. And then we're probably going to switch over once you guys have had time to cool down after the podcast and eat and do stuff like that. We'll probably pick up Gang Beasts or Phasma or something.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a good time.
I will be going on to do another round of trivia. I haven't had much time to prepare outside of what I've done for round 1, but I'll be there doing that. Choco, what's coming up for you?
What's coming for me? High Ground Podcasts, as per usual, Wednesdays at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. So we'll see y'all there. And who knows? Maybe we'll be hopping on Cal Stream. Hopefully I will be. Depends. Got to run things past the missus. So.
There's never any pressure. You guys are always just welcome to pop in and pop out whenever you're feeling it. So.
Right on. Go follow Cal4 on Twitch. Go follow Choco. Tune in on Wednesdays for his podcast. But yeah, let's give a shout out to all of the Squadron 7 members. I usually say everyone's name, but it's getting the list is getting
pretty
big.
Thick.
So guys, thank you guys so much for being a Squadron 7 member. and helping us continue this show that is now on episode 72. Trying to think ahead as to what our plans will be for the 100th episode. Maybe Choco will have an OnlyFans. We'll discuss it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being members. Here is the second half of the members. With Nedrex here, shout out to Nedrex and Escape Reality Films for being a part of this show, and to all of the people on this screen for their support every month. But I think, and this might just be me, that's it. On to the next one.
For light and for life.
We are all the Republic.
And may the force be with you always.
Do or do not. There is no try.